Welcome to episode 80 of Ring Talk. Myself, Martin Theobald, later to be joined by Steve Goodwin, and also to a quickfire quiz with Amar, Kayani, and we're going to have Shocki on with us, and we're going to hear from Brandon Ball in the one to watch. We're going to have a review of what went on last week in the boxing world, preview of this week's events. We're going to start looking forward now to the 23rd of November and the quality show that's coming up there. Got a rant coming up. The betting zone where Steve's going to go into a bit more of the world of boxing betting and what it's about, and we've got a brand new feature for you called the Trevorism, which for those of you that have ever followed this show, you will know Steve's friend Trevor, who you'll see around at shows, and his unique views upon boxing and how it could be improved, arguably. And then we're going to finish up on the Q&A. So stay with us all the way through and you get all those quality pieces. And as if by magic, Steve, we're here. How you doing?
All good, all good.
You've been busy this week, in the finance world.
Financial world, doing an event. I was telling you, this doesn't constitute financial advice, but there's a product on the market, as I said, you're giving 17.25%.
That's mad.
Fairly safe-ish, and so obviously
it's not Bitcoin.
No. It's totally and utterly. If I told you what it was, you'd turn around and go, "Oh my god."
Salt or sugar.
Yeah. So basically, we've done. So all my clients have been doing it. So I've had to work Saturday, Sunday, here last night to 11:15, and be here working tonight to 11. But once this week gets out of it, we can get back to the boxing again. But that's my main job, isn't it? So
yeah,
got to be done.
Yeah, it pays the bills.
Yeah. So I haven't watched any boxing at all over the weekend because I've been so busy doing my financial work, so I haven't seen anything. I didn't watch the KSI Logan Paul rerun that apparently was on last night. Haven't seen it.
Oh, you really missed out.
Billy Joe apparently didn't really turn up, apparently, did he, on Saturday? Have you seen it?
I've watched the highlights of it. I didn't actually watch, like the whole thing just made me think, I don't really care.
Awesome.
And I didn't care enough. You know, Billy Joe Saunders fighting some bloke who's been crowbarred into the WBO top 15 for the purposes of that fight. And then, to go 11 rounds and by all accounts be losing before the knockout.
So was he losing?
Well, apparently he was having a bit of a mare. But I have seen the stoppage, it was a good stoppage.
He won, that's the main thing. But
yeah,
I mean, I just haven't watched it, so there wasn't anything of massive, for me, of massive importance. This weekend looks a bit short as well. There's only the one major TV show, which is the Hennessy show at York Hall on Saturday.
Major?
Well, I want to say major. It's the only major platform. We got a couple of the IFL shows, haven't you?
Your show, November 30th, is better than that Hennessy show coming up on Channel 5 this weekend.
Without a doubt.
Channel 5, if anyone from you is watching this, sort your stuff out, because that show this weekend is a tenth as good as the November 30th show.
I agree.
A tenth, if that.
But they're not
It's mad.
It's all about TV contracts. Are all about personal relationships, not taking Sky out of it because Eddie Hearn's a brilliant promoter. But BT Sport, obviously Frank Wilder's got connections to BT, but he's another great promoter. But the rest of the deals are all basically who knows who.
Yeah.
So that's just how that works. But yeah, the show, you got Alex Magani fighting Fonseca. It's not a bad fight.
I don't know him.
but it's just what it is. I mean, there's a couple of the MTK shows which, to be honest, when you go through it, then
the Farouk McGregor fight up in Scotland.
That's the only, honest to God, of the shows on this weekend.
It's the only fight.
It's the only fight that have. There's one other I'd watch actually, the Jeffrey Ofori against
Jed
Carroll fight on the MTK show. So of this weekend, there's only two fights. The rest of it's dross, in my opinion. Jeffrey Ofori, Jared Carroll. I've got to say this. I'd say what I believe. I don't think you pitch a fighter that's just had a fight for the Southern Area title and 6 weeks later go and fight away at to fight Gerald Carroll. I know my prior. I like him as a manager. I hope he proves me wrong, and I hope he goes to win. But I think it's a really big mistake to do as a manager.
I'd agree.
But I hope I'm wrong, and I hope Mo proves me wrong because I like Mo as a person. But I think this is a really bad judgment call. You can't do a fight like that over 10 rounds with Alfie Price and still be peaking 6 weeks later.
And that was a hard fight with Alfie Price. Alfie Price had the better of him throughout, like mentally and physically. That's a draining fight.
So I don't see why on earth that's happened. I mean, and again, even if the boxer wants to do it, your job is to stop him.
Yeah.
But I really hope I'm wrong, and I hope Mo can come ring me up and say, "You plonker, you got that totally wrong." I hope I am wrong.
You'd like to get that phone call.
I'd like to get that phone call, but I think it's going to be proven that it's an error.
Yeah.
But I think it's a fight that I will be watching. It's a great fight. I think the fight's going to be good to watch. And obviously, as you say, the McGregor-Farouk fight's a really good fight. But the rest of it, you can throw in the dustbin.
No, I agree.
I mean, you've got the fielding and people like that, but they're all fighting big men from Honduras or whatever it is. That doesn't really count. I don't want to see people just having those type of fighters having warm-up fights, knocking over appalling opponents or winning every round on points. That's of no interest to me. So this weekend, not too much going on.
Yeah. I said at the beginning, we're going to preview the November 23rd show.
It was 22nd.
I was wrong.
I know. That's next week.
We're actually going to go with the November 22nd show down in Plymouth, headlined by Brad Pauls versus Robbie Chapman. But we're going to run through the rest of the card first and come on to that at the end.
Yep. So let's go through from the Darren Townley, who I've managed since he started boxing. One of the nicest lads you've ever met. Isn't he lovely?
I spent the night when you had the awards ceremony. Me and my missus sat with him and his missus for most of the evening.
Isn't he lovely?
He's such a gentleman. And he'd had his tooth knocked out recently. Right. So he's very self-conscious about it. And, but yeah, he's such a nice bloke.
I've got all the time in the world for Darren, and
he hasn't really performed in the ring as he can.
He's much better in the gym, but hopefully that's going to change. He's now fighting in Plymouth. He's in front of his home crowd. I hope he's going to put in a good performance, and I think, as I say, for Darren, I think he's just one of the nicest guys, and I hope that he gets a crack at, I'm sure we'll be able to deliver him a crack at the Southern Area title at some point.
Yeah. And
that's basically what he wants to do. So I'm happy to see Darren back on the trail. He's coming on the back of a win. He's 9-3, but we want to build up a few more wins for him and then go for a title with him.
Yeah.
Billy Stanbury's the next one. Real high hopes for Billy Stanbury.
I don't know a lot about Billy Stanbury, I'm going to be honest.
Won 41 from 63 amateurs.
Right.
Now that's a really good record. People might think, well, hold on a minute. But let me tell you, most of the best pros are two-thirds winners.
Yeah, to get a 66% win
and
rate.
when you look back at some of the, it's not the best amateurs that actually become the best pros. Most of the pros, the really good pros, and I could go through them, that you don't sort of have not won amateur titles, are normally about two-thirds winners.
Yeah.
So any less than that starts to become, but two-thirds winners in upwards of fights is good. He was an England international. He's trained by Richard Griggs, and I am so excited to see him. I think he's got immense potential, and he starts his pro career against Liam Griffiths. But I'm expecting
that's a hard fight for
But I'm expecting to be really impressed. I really am. I've got really massive high hopes for him.
Liam can be a real handful, can't he? If on his night.
Yeah, but I think he's got more than his match in Billy. I'm expecting really to come away from Plymouth being really impressed by Billy Stanbury.
It's a good test.
The next one is Konstantin Ursu.
Yeah.
A superstar in the making, won 110 of 121 amateurs, fought in all the major tournaments around the world, has relocated with Marley Dan down in Plymouth, and I want to say a big thank you to not only Shane Radmore and Marley Dan, but also to Richard Griggs. But Marley has been instrumental in actually helping us build the Plymouth card, so big thanks to Marley Dan, who's looking after Konstantin. And he's got a fight against somebody with a 1-4 record, but it's false. This guy fought in the European Championships as an amateur, the opponent, so he'll be coming to win. And they fought in the amateurs as well, and it was apparently a really good fight. So Konstantin wanted to have somebody who was going to come and bring it, and this guy, who is obviously fighting on the road, there's a personal thing there, so he's going to come and try and win.
They've got history.
So they've got history, and he'll come to try, whereas sometimes the journeymen don't try. Marcus Hodgson, who's 2-0-1 as a pro, he's had a breakout the ring. He comes back and fights Eddie Borkland. Now when he's 2-0-1, we need to get some momentum into Marcus. And by having the shows in Plymouth, that will help. So I'm looking forward to seeing Marcus come back. He's got a long break away from the ring to overcome. Lewis Everson won 13 out of 23 amateurs, around about 55% of amateurs, a good record. But his style, I've seen his amateur fights, his style is so suited to the pros, not an amateur.
Right.
And he reminds me a bit of Brad Pauls. So if you like watching Brad Pauls, I think you'll like watching...
Aggressive front foot fighter.
Yeah, so Lewis Everson is the next fighter of that ilk from that area, and I'm sure with how watching the amateur, there's no doubt in my mind that Lewis Everson is going to be a champion.
What weight is he at?
Middleweight.
Nice.
So same weight, powerful. So I'm really looking forward to seeing him. Conor Adaway, brother of Chris, makes his debut.
Oh, right.
Conor was a decent amateur. He's only 21. Really decent amateur, and we're looking forward to seeing Conor really develop. I think he's going to be very exciting. But obviously at 21, we're going to take a bit of time with him.
I remember reading a piece with Chris where he was talking about him and saying about how Chris had ended up going out on the road as a fighter and how he wanted to help his brother, not manage his brother, but give him the guidance and advice to build a career.
In other words, where Chris doesn't feel he made the right choices, he wants Conor to do that. And it's really good for Conor to have Chris as his brother. Chris is a lovely kid, and it's going to be good help for him because Chris has heard it all, seen it all, done it all, and it'd be a great help to his brother. Yeah. Harry Armstrong, the heavyweight, with Don Charles, he makes his debut. He fights Phil Williams. So Harry, we've been looking forward to. He's had so many problems, and we've still got a couple of hurdles to overcome before he can fight next week. And hopefully we'll be able to do that.
So hopefully no more false starts for him. It'll be
well. We hope so, but we're not totally 100% out of the woods yet with his fight next week.
All right.
So we just have to hope. It's outside our control, but we're hoping it'll be okay. And he fights Phil Williams, and I'm really excited to see Harry.
Big Phil.
Big Phil again, and
Swindon down to Plymouth.
Yeah. I mean, Harry's been spotted everybody, Sextons and all of that in the gym. So I'm really looking forward to seeing him. So I really hope that he gets through. And then we're at the top of the bill. Yeah. Mr. Brad Pauls and Mr. Robbie Chapman, which is a fight that most people have been really looking forward to say the least. Yeah,
it's such an intriguing one in that Robbie's got the one loss on his record against Bradley Spencer, which I think he'd started to veer off his original career path, and then he's come back. There was someone I was chatting to who knows both lads fairly well, who thinks Robbie's going to have too much movement, too slick, too much ring craft for Brad to be able to assert his power and dominance over him. I don't know. We'll find out on the 22nd.
It's a really tough fight for Brad. This isn't a fight that... I mean, I manage both lads, right? But this isn't a fight that Brad is a champion that we would have chosen, but nobody wanted to fight him. Yeah. We originally made a fight, and that chap pulled out, so we were struggling. Nobody wanted to go with Brad. Robbie stepped up. He was the only person that stepped up to challenge him. Brad wanted to do a fight in his home area, so that's the fight we had.
And Brad will fight anyone, won't he?
Brad will fight anyone. His trainer says we've got to fight him. So, but it's Brad's hardest fight by a country mile. Yeah. By a country mile.
Yeah. Robbie should not be underestimated within the fight. He may not have the same power as Brad, but he was a quality amateur, and he's proven as a pro that he can do a job.
The thing with Robbie as an amateur, he's never been stopped, never been dropped, never been hurt, apparently in the gym or in a fight. So they don't think Brad's power is a problem. And if Brad doesn't hurt him, then that, or puts a dent in him, then it becomes a very intriguing fight.
Do you know what else I find fascinating about it? And I'm gutted I'm not going to be there. Is to see how the two corners work. So you've got Xavier Miller in one corner, Terry Stewart in the other. Two brilliant boxing brains. Okay. Terry, who's been there and seen it all, done it all, been in world title fights. He's been influential in the career of James DeGale. And you've got Xavier, who's the up-and-coming, more modern, perhaps, coach. Yes. And that's no offence to Terry. Terry's got a wealth of knowledge that Xavier doesn't have, but Xavier maybe has other ways of thinking that Terry doesn't have. I find that a fascinating dynamic to see how, if it gets into the 6th, 7th round, how will those two be able to influence upon the fight? So I don't know who.
Obviously, I'm not. I can't make a prediction, but you can.
Fuck off!
I can't. This This ring talk is all about total transparency, but there are certain situations where I can't give it. And I can't give it when I've got two fighters I manage in the same fight. I've got my own opinion.
I've got two mates in the same fight.
That doesn't count. You're the leader. You're the guru of ring talk. So you have to have an opinion, an honest opinion. You get things wrong and get abused by people all the time. So
that's so true. I think it will be a Brad Paul's points win, and I think Robbie will call for a rematch.
Okay.
That'd be my guess. I'm not saying it'll be controversial, I'm not saying it'll be any of that, but I don't think necessarily Brad will be able to pin Robbie like he's been able to pin previous opponents. But I'm not sure if Robbie will be able to do enough in the away corner to get the title off Brad.
He's done 250 tickets, Brad.
Crikey.
His biggest sale ever. He's done 250
That's
tickets.
amazing, isn't it? So you're looking, if my prediction came off, and look, I wish nothing but the best for both, and I don't pick that outcome with any confidence nor hope or whatever. If Brad comes through it as a champion, would you be looking at Plymouth again in the future, given...
Well, we're going to do Plymouth with or without Brad, right? Because we're going to build Plymouth up as an area. For Brad, it's going to be what opportunities are out there, whether there are any televised opportunities if he wins. Also, what makes the most financial sense for him.
Yeah.
Because the business, the model of running a show in Plymouth is different than running a show in York Hall.
Yeah.
Because you've only got a limited amount of tickets you can sell. So no, you start putting bigger fights on in Plymouth. There just isn't the money there to do it, and the money for the boxers to earn. You need a bigger venue in that area to make it work if he wants to.
Which would mean a bigger card.
Bigger card and a bigger venue, hold more people.
Yeah.
Because from Brad's point of view, you've got to look at the dynamics and the financials.
Yeah.
But there we go. But it's a great fight, and you can't discount Robbie. It's a great fight. It's just a great fight.
No, you can't discount Robbie at all. And as I say, my prediction isn't made with confidence nor anything else. And I'm just gutted I can't be there to see it.
So that is the Plymouth card, which has just been is an amazing show, and some of the talent on offer, apart from the Brad Robbie fight, some of the home talent I class as exceptional. I can't wait to see Harry the heavyweight. And some of these other supremely talented fighters underneath. Every single fight there that's on that card holds interest for me for various reasons. And sometimes you look at shows and every single fight for me is of interest. So I just can't wait for the show itself. Don't particularly, the headline title fight is always difficult for me because I like both kids. But it's the right fight for both, so you have.
But you won't be comfortable watching it.
Not particularly, no.
Yeah.
So that's that. But that's really But that's the show done. I mean, we'll talk about the 23rd next week.
But that's the 22nd. Plymouth. If you want to get tickets, are there still tickets available?
Ringside sold out. About 10 normal tickets left.
Right.
It's virtually sold out.
Awesome. Which made for a great night down at the Guildhall.
Exactly. So it's really, really good. So that's one show. If you're going to be down the area, try and come along or get the tickets off a boxer if a boxer's got any spare. But now we finish. We're talking about the 22nd. We now go to the intriguing part of the week. It's Martin's weekly rant.
Martin's weekly rant.
Right, my weekly rant. Julio Cesar Chavez Jr., Danny Jacobs. So this is meant to be put on in Las Vegas, I think, Nevada, and Cesar Chavez was unwilling to take the VADA testing. Now, under the Muhammad Ali Pact, I think it's called, over in America, if you don't take the testing in one state, then there's meant to be an agreement whereby you can't just take that fight and move it to another one. But that's what's happening, they're moving that fight. I think it was to Phoenix, maybe. Arizona, it might be Phoenix. But you've ended up with that fight because one fighter won't partake in the drug testing that's required in that state. You're just going to take it and move it somewhere else. You're going to shift that problem. Cesar Chavez has a history of issues with drug testing authorities. You can't just take that fight and say, because you won't be tested there, we'll do it somewhere else where the testing perhaps may be slightly more lenient, or you don't have to go through the same protocols. It's madness. If boxers and boxing and promoters and managers want to stamp out the issue of PEDs within the sport, you have to start by governing what's going on within fights. And if certain individuals don't want to adhere to the rules, don't want to adhere to the testing, don't want to sign up to the protocols, then they shouldn't just be excused and take that fight and move it somewhere else, because you're just becoming part of the problem. And when you see certain people within the sport going on camera after the death of individual fighters, doing interviews where they're incredibly upset, some may be crying, some may be talking about how much it meant to them about that fighter, those same people can't then be involved with moving fights elsewhere, because to me, that's a massive problem. The sport will not clean itself up. You will only end up with more tragedies, you will only end up with more problems, you will only end up with more people taking performance enhancing drugs within the sport. Have a listen to the podcast with Richard Poxon and the Australian Matt Clark, where they talk about Lucas Brown when he failed the test out in Chechnya, I think it was, when Lucas Brown won the world title. You'll start to hear a first-hand account of how drug testing is affecting boxers, and the kind of protocols that go with it, all these things. But to me, that Julio Cesar Chavez, Daniel Jacobs fight, if one half of it won't partake in the proper boxing authority drug testing via VADA or WADA or USADA, whoever it is, the fight simply should not go ahead, simply should not be allowed. Right, rant over. I do like to rant about PEDs in this sport. It's a massive problem.
It's true though. I mean, Eddie's defence to that was he hadn't signed contractually to the fight when he was asked for a drugs test, but and I know that's because he's probably, allegedly doesn't want to take it for his own reasons. I can't accept that.
Read the piece by Thomas Hauser on Boxing Scene about it, and it lays it out better than I could manage.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, I mean, you can't on one hand hope the sport cleans itself up and be really upset about the tragedies, and on the other hand be complicit in helping fighters get around the system. Doesn't work. On a brighter note, Brandon Ball.
Let's talk about Brandon Ball. Now, a young man, he's only 22 years of age. He's made his debut in November 17. He's got a 5-1 record.
Yeah.
Why is he one to watch? Because he didn't have an extensive amateur record, and he's got immense talent. And to me, he's a young man that shows exceptional hand speed, good movement, but he's just young. And he was advised, not by me, to drain his weight down to a weight, and he was very, very ill apparently the day before, nobody told me, and he went in a ring and got clipped in the first round, had no punch resistance at all. So I think that was an error by, I think he learned from that. But he came back and he fought Robbie Forster last time, looked good. But you've got to remember, he's only 22, and he's a boy, not a man. I'm sure he probably won't be too offended if I say
contested maybe, but
yeah, but you know what I mean, in men, because he's going to be a far different athlete in 24, 36 months than he is now in terms of his power and strength. And he could be very, very good as long as he doesn't get rushed or pushed to rush by anybody. It won't be by me. So if we take our time with him, I'm sure we have a really good champion on our hands.
Is it hard to take your time, because he fights down at the lower weights where there's less potential opponents? Is it hard to take your time when actually there might be an opportunity that arises maybe before he's kind of experienced and ready enough?
Well, I think it's important not to, because looking at Brandon now, he's not ready yet. And that's not trying to hold him back. I just want what's best for him. If, for example, at the end of the day, I work for the boxer. If the boxer, and I have had this before, boxers sometimes come and say, I want this, I want this, I want this. It often goes wrong. More often than not goes wrong. But sometimes you facilitate it and think, okay, then if that's what you want.
Yeah.
But I'm hopeful. I think Brandon is an intelligent young man. His dad's involved in boxing. I think they're an intelligent family. They get it. And I think they understand where they want to be. And I do believe he'll be a champion. And I do believe that he will take the time, and that's why being signed to us and to myself as a manager, if you let us do the job, we won't rush a fighter, we won't put them in fights just for shows. We will develop them as fighters and make sure that they go in, when the time is right.
And they get the career they deserve.
Yeah, because it's not about just putting them in fights for shows. a lot of other people do that. We try and say, well, look, this boy as an individual is 22. When is he going to peak? Well, you know, how should we do this? And I think he's an exceptional talent, but he just needs that bit of time.
Right, enough from us about Brandon Ball. Let's hear from Brandon himself, and he's going to tell us about his career and what he's been up to.
Hello everyone, Brandon Ball here, and doing a quick video today for Steve Goodwin on Ring Talk about my professional boxing career. A little bit about myself. I've been boxing for about 12 years now, and I'm on to my 7th pro fight. Got that coming up this month on the 23rd. But yeah, this has been my 7th fight. I've had 6 and I've only lost 1 so far, but that was due to me going down to 56 kilos and I wasn't comfortable down at that weight. But after that loss, it had its benefits. I'm more self-disciplined. I've learnt from that mistake. I know what I had to do to improve on what I was doing in the gym, and psychologically I had a big benefit on myself because having that O as a fighter, being unbeaten, you always got the pressure. What if I'm going to be defeated tonight? But now it's taken a big weight off my shoulders and I can finally get the best out of myself. But yeah, I come back from that pretty well. So I come back, had a fight against the Bull Terrier, tough little man, gave me his best shot, but I showed him what boxing's all about and gave him a lesson. 2020 is looking for a good year. I hopefully get some 6-rounders in, building it up towards 8. That's what you got to do when you're looking to make rounds for title fights. You've got to improve on your stamina, but it all comes in time. I'm not rushing myself. I'm still 22 years old. I've got plenty of time. And I'm still learning. There's plenty of things I'm learning. I'm in a gym with Richard Sawyer and Archie Sharp, and I learned so much off of Archie. He's an inspiration to myself. He's like my campmate, but I look up to him, and it's good just to be around these fighters, learning how they fight, and hopefully put them skills into my boxing. But my dreams on my career, hopefully I can win. Well, I'd like to win the British title, but you can't jump too far. I've got to take the southern area first, then, as I say, the English, then the British. But the British, there's something about that belt, just catches my eye. But you got to have aims. Without aims and objectives, you're never going to get nowhere. That's my goal. I want to get to that goal. But yeah, so 23rd November is going to be a good show. Loads of prospects on it, and I hope to see you all there. I've done a few tickets for this show, so it's going to be a cracker. And I'd just like to thank Steve Goodwin for how he's handled me with the management and the fights, and he's a good man. So thank you very much, Steve. I'll see you all soon. Bye.
There you go. Thank you, Brandon, for filling us in on where you're up to. Right, new as part of the show. As I've put out on Twitter previously, this is quite a fluid concept at the moment, this show. So if people like things or don't like things, we're up for suggestion of what
Put
can
them
be...
on, take them off.
Yeah. So one that we are having added on is the Trevorism.
And this is an idea of Josh,
Yeah.
who wanted to introduce the Trevorism because Josh is subjected to these ideas all the time.
So as an intro, people that don't know, Trevor Padden, who is a good friend of yours, who helps out at this show, who runs a VIP bar at York Hall, so if you're ever there, say hello to him, talk boxing with him if you dare. He comes up with ideas that are from one end of the extreme to the other.
So we have had country music,
Yeah.
because he's a Dolly fan. We've had
Wrestling as part of a boxing show. Christ knows what else.
But golf and boxing are interlinked. Yes, we've had that.
Yeah, so now
We have the new one.
A new week.
And the point is, what Trevor has asked is for you to discuss this because I have already discussed this with him.
Right.
So the Trevorism, and we're going to see a caption of Trevor.
I've asked specifically
With
not
this.
to hear in advance what this is as well.
You have, yeah, but so you are ready for this.
No.
Boxing, this is Trevor.
Yeah.
Boxing must now embrace change. As well as male and female divisions, there must now be a gender neutral
Right. Well, that's it.
Because he is saying, Trevor's view is that a lot of people are not able to box because they're neither one or the other.
Okay, right. So as ludicrous as he's starting from, and I believe he's been 100% serious,
Yes.
go and listen to the Science of Sport podcast with a guy called Ross Tucker, who's a South African. He does an entire one about Caster Semenya, the athlete.
Yes.
And now he was involved in her case with the Court of Arbitration for
She's
Sport.
brilliant. She's unbelievable. She beats everybody by miles. doesn't
Yeah,
she?
and so the IAAF, who run athletics, have changed the rules around the events that she runs, which are 800 metres
right, yeah.
and 1500 metres potentially, and they've lowered the level of testosterone that females are allowed to have to compete in those races, just those races that she competes in. And all the other races that are available, they haven't changed the rules upon.
Is that right?
And he was involved in her case for the Court of Arbitration for Sport, talking about, again, go and listen to Science of Sport podcast. So, in essence, her issue is around whether she is a male or a female, and that's kind of what it hinges on. Which, going back to Trevor's point here, being gender fluid, there will be cases within the sport where females have higher testosterone levels than other females, and whether they exceed those thresholds or not, should there be some regulatory testing? Because you look at certain females, I'm not going to name any, but there are some world champion females, high profile, that if you look at them, you think you don't necessarily have all of the aesthetic appearances of what you would associate to be a female. That's the nicest way I can put it. They may have higher testosterone levels, which make them look slightly more masculine than feminine. If that's the case, if they have higher testosterone levels, and I don't know if they do or they don't, should they be competing in the same sport as females that have lower testosterone levels, which affects your muscle mass, it affects your bone density, it affects all these things. And it does raise questions about females within the sport and the advantages or disadvantages of your birth. Probably to get a bit more in depth than what it needed.
So his question was though,
should there be gender fluid?
should there be other weight divisions? Or other classes rather than male or female of fights that are allowed?
I would love to know what Trevor is suggesting as the categories that could be. Like, what do you want, Sam Smith, that fucking singer that identifies as a table or whatever he is this week? I don't know. And how do you define it? Like, can I self-identify as a woman? I don't fancy fighting most of them, but there's a few I reckon I could get a win against. There are!
But it's interesting, but again, Trevor sits there and looks at things from outside the box. Apparently there's a few more of these coming, and they are
good conversation pieces.
They are.
Nothing else.
He does think of things outside the box, Trevor.
Yeah, I would like to know what his categories are.
But he
no, not at all.
He does think about these things.
I would like to know what his categories are that he's suggesting aside from male
Maybe
and
you could
female.
ask him at the boxing.
And also you'd have to change the toilets in your call, because there's only male, female or disabled. Like, where's he going with this? I don't want to see Andy Brown having to police that one.
That's a good point. So there we go. The first Trevorism, there's more to come if you want them. But they're quite good, interesting topics to discuss.
They are. And right, we're going to go to the Quickfire quiz now. So this is with Amar, who is debuting on November the 23rd. We heard from him last week in the interview. And we'll see how good or how bad Amar does. And I know the answer.
But let's have a look. That he's got. We know what he had to beat, Martin, because you and Alan are sitting at the top of the table with 2 each.
We do, and next week you're going to get Shocki as well, who is a mate of Amar's. So
now we're going to be in competition with each other. We'll see how it all goes.
So let's see how Amar does. Let's go.
Today for the Quickfire quiz, we are joined by new boxer who's making his debut on the 23rd of November. Amar Kayani, who we are expecting massive things from in the boxing world, and apparently not only is he a super skillful and talented boxer that's going to win many titles, he is also one of the most knowledgeable boxers around. So we are going to test that knowledge in the Quickfire quiz. You've got 2 to beat. Martin Theobald, Alan Budgeon, both have scored 2. So we're not asking a lot to try and get 2 or 3.
I'll try my best.
And we're going to fire away, and he's going to demonstrate his boxing knowledge to us today.
Alright, let's do it.
So, when are we ready to go? Let's wait for the countdown.
On your marks, get set, go.
How many losses did Mike Tyson suffer in his career?
8.
No, 6. Who did Zach Chelly beat in April 2019 to become Southern Area Champion?
Nah, pass.
Jimmy Smith. Who is the current English heavyweight champion?
The bar.
No, it's vacant. Which promoter staged the first ever boxing show at the O2 Arena?
Frank Warren.
Correct. Name the 2 boxers to have defeated O'Hara Davis.
Fitzgerald. No, not Fitzgerald. It was. Oh, but what's that guy name that beat Davies, man? Pass. I can't
Josh
remember.
Taylor, Jack Catwell.
Cashwell. It was Cashwell.
Who did Anthony Yard beat to win the Southern Area Light Heavyweight title?
Pass.
Chris Hobbs. How many professional shows have been staged at the York Hall in 2019?
73.
26.
That's
Sergei Kovalev initially won the WBO World Heavyweight title in 2013 against who?
Pass.
Nathan Cleverly.
Oh, I could have got that. I could have got the
You
clever
know
one.
that? You
I
know
knew.
that?
I knew. You know what it is when you don't want to think about it too much.
So we have scored, unfortunately, 1, and Amar is now
Yeah.
bottom of the board. But it does mean that those of you that want to participate, you've only got to get more than 1 to not be last. So that should encourage more people to come forward. But I can guarantee he's a lot better in the ring than he's answering questions. Make sure you come to the 23rd, because you're witnessing the birth of a future boxing champion on the 23rd at York Hall. Amar Kayani.
Thank you, guys.
Right, with us today we've got Shocki Khan, 1-0 as a professional.
Yes, yes.
How are you?
I'm good, thank you very much, Martin. How you doing?
I'm
You all
good.
right?
I'm very good, thank you. No one ever asked that. I like that, thank
I'll
you.
always ask. I'm very respectful in that.
Yeah, so how you doing? Because you were meant to be fighting 23rd of November, was it?
Yeah, I was supposed to be fighting 23rd of November, but unfortunately I got pulled out by my coach and my uncle due to an injury. It's very unfortunate. In 45 odd fights, it's the first time I've ever pulled out.
Really?
Yeah, unfortunately. So
Well, have you done anything serious or?
nothing too serious, something I'll recover from. I'll be back to training next week.
Yeah.
And looking to be back out in March. Have a bit of rest, spend some time with my family.
Yeah.
And all that. So
Yeah, enjoy a few months off.
yes.
Well, don't tell your coach that.
Eat well. That's what I'm doing.
So how's it been since that first professional fight that you've had? How have you found being a professional boxer from then on?
It's quite strict. I've obviously got to watch a lot of things that I do. I've got to go in a professional manner.
Yeah.
I've been getting a lot of attention, which is awesome as well. So all the
That
people,
hometown attention.
yeah. Just people I see, just driving around. A lot of people approach me and ask
Yeah.
me the same questions of obviously how the boxing's going and all that.
Yeah.
To all the people that are supporting me as well and purchasing tickets, it means a lot. Thank you all very much. And yeah, so it's great. It's
And they'll be able to purchase them again for March when you're when you're due out.
Yes, there'll be £40 for standard tickets, 65 for ringside.
I like that salesman.
You can't go wrong. You can't go wrong. You're always going to get, with Goodwin shows, you're always going to get a full card of good fights.
And they make good Christmas presents. Anyone needs Christmas presents,
I know.
sort it out.
Yes.
There you
Let
go.
me know. I'm your salesman.
So what's it been like coming from the amateur background that you've had, where you say you had 40-ish amateur fights,
Yeah.
and then having the first professional?
Yeah.
What differences would you kind of pick out, or what would you say to any other amateurs out there that are turning professional you're going to find different when you do it?
Training camps are always a lot different now. So from times that I was training only 3 times a week on boxing, it changes to training 6 times a week in boxing.
Right.
Running in the mornings and like doubling up in the sessions in the day. So
And you have a dedicated 8-week camp, presumably, which you wouldn't have necessarily had as an amateur, that you can give that time to it.
yeah, of course. So right now I'm looking to get myself out 3 or 4 times a year. In amateurs, I'll take fights on 2 days' notice.
Yeah.
I'll get a call and I'll just make weight just like that. Or I'd always speak to my coach and always ask him to let me up a few pounds, you know. But yeah, there's a big difference. You've got to know how to handle the pressure as well, selling tickets. Thankful I've got a good family support behind me that take care of the tickets. My sponsors help me out.
Right, while we're on the subject of sponsors, let's give a mention to all of those that are helping support your career, helping you reach those aspirations as a professional boxer, the ones that are helping you out, and why people should go and buy from them.
First of all, I want to give a shout out to Jet Taxis. They're the best taxi service in Aylesbury, and they've been helping me out for a long time.
Yeah.
So a special mention to them. I want to give next to Adams Roofing, absolute best roofing company around. So definitely give them a shout. You can find all of this on my Instagram at Junior Shafkat. I'll repeat that at the end as well.
Nice.
And then Minotaur Fight Store. They got the only fight store in Aylesbury with all fight gears for all martial arts, so boxing, kickboxing, MMA.
They got a physical shop you can get down to.
Yeah, they've got a physical shop at Records Lane. You can always message me on Instagram and I can give you the link to that. And then a special shout out to Amar, sorry. These guys are absolutely amazing. They're sending me all his fight kits and
nice.
You can again just follow me on Instagram and I can send you the link to all this.
Awesome, there we go. Right, all those people that are sponsoring boxers, always appreciated because they're helping out lads that are trying to chase a dream.
Yes, of course. And my sponsors have been nothing but amazing to me as well. Always getting tickets, always pushing me further. Anything I need, I just speak to them.
Awesome.
They're always
So
arranging
thank you to them.
A huge thank you.
Right, so how's stuff going with Josh Burnham, your coach?
Josh Burnham, he's the best out there, man. He's the best out there. Do you know what? I've improved so much with him and my uncle Anab. Them two have put so much time into me, and Josh Burnham, I can't give a bigger thank you to. The guy's done a lot for me in such a short space of time. So a big shout out to him, and come check out Jab Boxing in Bushy, just right next to Watford. Always a welcoming gym as well, and it's awesome down there. It's a great atmosphere. That's what you need in the gym, and you've got great fighters as well. But it's not just for fighters. It's for your fitness. There's gym facilities there. There's a boxing ring, boxing bags.
Nice.
Everything you need.
Nice.
Everything you need.
How's it gel with him? Because you and Josh, you've got quite similar personalities. I feel that you're both quite laid back
You're trying to say we're
individuals.
punchy.
You're trying to say Josh is, I'm not. Jesus, he can still go.
Do you know what? We get along really well. I'll always have, we're quite similar ages as well.
Yeah.
But I'll always have that coach respect for him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's always boundaries that I take it to.
Yeah.
And him and my uncle are number one. You know what I mean? They're the top.
You do what you're told.
Yeah. I do what I'm told in training. I do what needs to be done as well. So I stick to a game plan. So I think we get on really well. We have our fun and games, but then obviously when it's time to get serious, we do get serious.
Do you ever fall out?
Never.
Never? Not yet?
Never, not yet. And if we do, then he knows what time it is.
What was the highlight? Go back to that night you made your professional debut. What was the highlight of that? Because I know from speaking with boxers that have debuted as a pro, you use up so much nervous energy, like in the morning before you make your way to York Hall. Then you get there, you've got to weigh in, you see your opponent, and then you've got to sit in the back. I don't know, so you're on fight 5 or something like that. You sit in the back getting your hand wrapped, all the other lads around you, burning up that energy as well. You've got to keep yourself calm, what are your recollections of that day and night?
First of all, I spent the night up there one night before with my uncle. And one thing that my coaches do really well is that they just keep me calm.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Everything is planned by God. Whatever's going to happen is going to happen. Obviously, I've trained how many weeks. You've got to trust in yourself, and you've got to do everything to keep calm as well. I was on number 9, so I had a bit of a wait. Yeah. It was quite nice to go out and watch the other lads fight.
So you didn't weigh in and leave York Hall?
No. I weighed in, went and got some food, come back.
Yeah.
Just sat down, watched some of the fights. I like to. I don't like to just sit there. You know what I mean? So once I'm waiting for my fight, I'll just have a little walk around.
Take in some of the atmosphere.
Yeah. Just soak the atmosphere in. So. The night was amazing. All my people, they kept it so loud.
Do you notice that when you're in the ring then? Because a lot of people say they can only hear the voice of their coach.
I hear the voices of my coach, but I can also hear other people.
You hear the noise.
I hear there's a big atmosphere.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things Steve Goodwin told me straight away as well, is like,
You
kept it
brought
very
a
loud.
following.
Yeah. I tried my best, and nothing but a huge thank you to all you guys again. So appreciate it from the bottom of my heart.
What was the feeling like when you stand up on that stage and the smoke machine's coming up round you and the screens are either side of you and there's that black cloak just as you're about to make your walk? What was that feeling?
It was a good feeling. I trusted in my training, and I know for a fact that I'm going there to win. There's you do get nervous, don't get me wrong.
Yeah, but good nervous.
But a good nervous, yeah. Like, I know all my people are there, and with those people, there's no way I can lose. You know what I mean? So another few hitting there. I cut up there. But I'm doing well with the last time, ain't I?
Josh gonna have fun with this.
Oh shit, Josh! Oh fuck! Is it gonna be bad for him?
It's not my problem. Right. I'll try and cut. So you can cut some things out.
Yeah.
Sure. So where'd you go? 2020. What's the plan? Once you get the injury healed, you get a fight date for March because Steve traditionally puts on, I think, maybe 2 or 3 shows in March.
Yeah.
You get a fight date. What are your plans for then? You said earlier you want to fight maybe 4 times. Is that a bit ambitious given that you'd be looking at March, June or July, whatever the fight dates are around that, and then September, October, and then December again?
To be fair, I'm only fighting 4-rounders right now. So if I can get another 2 4-rounders in, and maybe a 6-rounder, so make it a 3 a year.
Yeah.
Or if I can get 2 6-rounders in, I think I'd like to progress my career at a fast pace.
And set yourself for 2021 at that rate.
Yeah.
In terms of being ready to fight for titles and.
Yeah.
So 2020 is another. It's a year to build a platform.
Of course, and build a fan base as well. Just show everyone what I'm made of.
Yeah.
Show them that I'll come to fight, and I love fighting as well. I love to fight. You can tell by my nose.
What did you know? Did you notice any of the differences when you were in the ring compared to when you were an amateur?
The atmosphere. It's just and fighting at your call. There's nothing better.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
That enclosed the fans over the top.
Everyone gets a good seat. That's why I'm happy to sell these tickets because they put fights on at your call, and it's not just any little small community centre, you know?
Yeah.
You're fighting at your call, standard tickets or ringside, you're getting good seats.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You're getting good seats and you'll be
getting good fights.
And you'll be getting good
Don't
fights.
leave after, hang around.
Yeah. And there's always the best or last as well, so you don't want to miss them out. So even if I'm fighting first, you stay to number 12, 15.
Yeah. And then what about actually, the moment you get hit and you haven't got the head guards on, I mean, you may not have had the head guards, you progressed into the adult amateur side of it, but the smaller gloves, all those things, did it suddenly occur to you, shit, this is actually professional boxing now?
Not really. I'm just so used to just having such a long amateur career. So I did start quite late though. I started at 15.
Yeah.
Similar to Amar Kayani because I see his interview.
Yep.
And I started that quite late, and I pretty much went into adult senior straight away as well. So I didn't get my first amateur fight to 17.
Yeah.
So I felt like that was the deep end there because when I was 17 years old, I was fighting people that are 24, 25 years old, my age now. So I don't think there's much difference, if I'm honest with you. I did have no head guards for a bit in amateurs as well, so can't go wrong with it.
The smaller gloves, because they're so paper thin, aren't they? People probably don't, unless you've ever felt a pair of professional boxing gloves, you don't realise how little there is between the knuckle and the outside. And
that's always the thing that you have in the back of your head, is that with those gloves on, anyone can get knocked out.
Yeah.
Anyone can get knocked out, so it keeps you on your A game, keeps you ready. And man, you should have felt the ones I had though. They were perfect.
You want them again?
Yeah. If I could get those ones again, but I think they're on their way out now anyway.
Awesome. And where can people find you on social media? On Instagram, Twitter, Facebook?
So both on my social Instagram and my Twitter, you can find me on Junior Shafkat.
How do you spell that?
So it's JUNIORSHAFQAT.
Nice.
JUNIORSHAFQAT.
Cool. And that's the same for Instagram and Twitter, just
Yeah, that's the same.
Excellent. Right, cool. So I think that probably wraps us up. Thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you very much.
And we'll see you in the ring in 2020.
Yes.
Bigger, better, stronger, all rested up, ready to go.
Yes. Let's go.
Excellent. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, my man.
So thank you to Amar for doing the quiz, or at least thank you for turning up, because it was a pretty poor effort. Hopefully it was better on November 23rd. Thank you for Shocki for taking the time to come over from Aylesbury and do the interview with us. And now we're going to hit upon the betting zone. So it's fairly slim pickings in terms of what's on.
There was nothing last week. We had the bet the week before. There's nothing this week. Just a few things about betting that's going to be of interest. Betfair have agreed to price up the November 30th card.
Have they?
Yes, this week.
Wow, okay. So how did you go about agreeing?
We approached them. Josh has been negotiating with them. And they've agreed to price it up near the time. So you will be able to put bets on.
That's cool.
The Linus Udofia Tyler Denny fight. You'll be able to put bets on Curtis Felix Ekoesserman. You'll be able to put bets on Liam Dillon Yusuf Kamari. And probably the Ryan Walker Peter.
Oh, that's cool.
So it will be free. Betting will be priced up for everybody to bet on that show.
How does that work regulatory wise? Like, you're not allowed to bet on it, are you?
No. And I won't be giving bets on.
No, you're not going to get a best bet of the week.
Well, I'm not sure. I can't do that. So unless they priced up the last show in September and they made some glaring errors.
Yeah.
And I told a couple of people, a few things. But moving on, it's really good that they're doing that, and for that 30th card there will be bets, and we will try and give you advance notice about what the odds are on that show. So that's the first thing.
Alright, cool.
Second thing I thought I would do in the betting zone is, and this highlights about betting, is just some of my betting stories, and this one goes back 19 years, and if there's anything else you want to raise about betting we can. And it's a story that's totally 100% true, because as I've said before, I used to go on Sky Sports.
This is on horse racing, though.
Yeah, and I used to go on Sky Sports, and I used to run a betting line every single day for people who were in my company, Diamond Racing. So I used to part of what the thing when they bought a racehorse was I used to give them bets.
Right.
And the objective was I give them winners, they make money, they subscribe more and buy more horses, and it worked because I was producing them with lots of information and winners.
So your incentive was to make them money because then they would invest in the horses.
Correct.
And
they
would make money out of the horses.
Yeah, and it worked, and that's why the company built up and done very well. One of the reasons was, apart from the socialisation side, it was the betting side. But I wouldn't just bet on horses.
Right.
I would bet on absolutely anything, right? And we used to have betting stakes from 0 to 10.
As in you would bet with the bookies, or you would bet with...
I would bet, so it would be calls, so I'll tell them what odds, where to go, what the bet was, and we would have points like 1 point to win or 2 points to win, and 10 points would be the maximum.
Yeah.
And we're in the year 2000, and we're flying at this time, everything's going well, and I did it myself. And I said, right, okay, we have a maximum 10-point bet today. Now, Guy, my friend, I don't know, Guy, who's one of my good friends who lives in Leighton, he was involved at the time. He was involved in it, he knew about this as well. And a lot of people, if people out there were involved with me in 2000 with Diamond Racing, they'd know this to be true. And I said, we have a maximum bet. We used to have maximum bets about 3 times a year. And
does that mean put your mortgage on it?
Basically, this was the biggest bet you have in your life, right? Similar to what I did with Mayweather McGregor.
Yeah.
Right? This is it, your money comes out. And it was Bob the Builder to be Christmas number 1. Right?
Who was he up against?
Westlife were 1 to 7 on.
Right.
And Bob the Builder was 6 to 1 against, right? So the bookmakers had it nailed on that Westlife were going to be Christmas number 1. I knew that they were not going to be Christmas number 1.
Am I allowed to ask how you knew?
Off camera.
Right.
Okay. I knew. Now, I knew more than the bookmakers knew. And so I basically put this bet out at 12 o'clock. By about 2 o'clock in the afternoon, the betting market was collapsing. Bob the Builder was now 2 to 1.
And what day is it? Is this like the day before the charts are going to be announced?
No, I put it up a week before.
Right.
A week before. So everybody said it was going to be number 1 Westlife, but I knew Bob the Builder was going to be. So everybody backed. Anyway, Bob the Builder was Christmas number 1.
Yeah.
And everybody made a load of money. Now, is that because I was guessing, or is it because I thought, listen, I've got to be careful I word it, I thought I knew.
Yeah.
I thought I knew.
Okay.
And it's what I'm saying about boxing, the same thing, is that if I think I know, and I have more information than the bookmakers, and I definitely had more information than the bookmakers knew in that example, I could actually pile on.
Yeah.
And that was what we did. And next week I'm going to talk about another thing that was done in 2001. Where we orchestrated £1 million gamble, and I'm going to tell you how we pulled it off next week.
Okay.
But today it's about Betting Zone. It's about Bob the Builder, and it's an example of what we do. And betting it's very, very simple to make money in betting. It's just having an advantage. Forget somebody having an opinion saying, I think Tyson Fury is going to beat Deontay Wilder in round 5.
Or Inoue is going to knock Donaire out within 6 rounds.
But what I'm saying is with that, is it's an opinion you have.
Yeah.
But you don't have an edge on those bets. So whether we believe that or not, there's got to be a reason that the bookmakers have got the odds wrong and we've got the odds right.
Yeah.
On every bet, otherwise don't bet. So that's my point on that.
So if you happen to know about CD sale numbers, I'm intrigued. I want to know afterwards what the magic was.
I will tell you, and then you'll see why we could put it up as a maximum bet.
All right. Right, we're going to move on to the Q&A for the week. So we haven't got too many questions, so we'll keep it relatively short. And we're going to start off with one by Azza, UK Boxing 11 on Twitter. Has Steve presented / how is the proposal for the board regarding managers, in inverted commas, without licences going?
It's been sidetracked by the 17.25% interest investment return rate. So it's just going to be put off to next week. It's just purely that has taken over my life for the last. This is the first boxing thing I've done. So sorry, but I am on it.
It's in the draft folder.
It's in the draft folder, but I will be doing this week. But it will be something that takes a bit of time because the board do the right thing. They'll have to consider it, put it through their committee stage and everything like that. So it'll be an evolving. I would imagine it'll be a couple of months before I get any response.
Okay. Talking about like that 17.5% investment. Yeah, I mean, going back to the betting zone, which I know we've just walked out of a little bit, but that's essentially what it is, isn't it? Is that you're betting on something as a financial advisor to be a return that is above and beyond what you would get if you put it into a savings account.
That's basically what I do in my job. My job is to, that's why I've got a lot, I've got a lot of clients with a lot of money who trust my judgment because I know I analyse everything to do with money, whether it's odds or net, or whether it's an investment, and I will pinpoint an investment that sticks out, and that's why I have a lot of people investing a lot of money with me, and I have done for 30 years.
Without going too personal, do you invest your own money into those same?
I'd be mental if I didn't.
Yeah, no, I wasn't sure whether the regulation was.
No, I'm allowed to do that. Of course I'm doing. If I'm advising clients to invest in a particular thing and I'm not doing it myself, that would be a bit crazy. But no, 100%. And this particular one, of course.
Right. Yeah. Got you. Again from Azza on Twitter. Will Juma versus Hyde happen before year end?
That I don't know because you'd have to ask Joe Gallagher who won the purse bid.
Is that announced yet?
It will be announced by the time this.
Oh, okay, right.
We know we didn't win the purse bid, but we didn't think we'd win the purse bid because we rang the board to find out that we hadn't won the purse bid, and we're delighted with the money that Dion has got. Thank you, Joe, very much.
Congratulations to Joe for winning it.
Joe for winning it, because full credit to him because they put their money down. But we're delighted, and we think it's a very, very fair bid, and it'd be the money that I would expect Dion to have got on TV. So we're delighted with it. Yeah.
So we're down to Joe as to where and when
it is. It has to take place by the end of February. So Joe will come up with a venue, and then Dion will train for that fight.
Awesome.
And we're very confident.
Scott McGee on Twitter, enjoying the betting feature. Thank you very much. Even if it is a Bob the Builder special. I'm
hoping, by the way, that I'm hoping to try and inform people because I can't discuss my financial world on here because that's private advice, but I'm hoping with the betting zone just to give people enough information to, even if they're not following what we do, to help them to think before they lose their money. That's all.
You haven't got much confidence in their betting ability, have you?
Because they will lose.
That's why you get rich bookies.
The fractions of people that win, it's minuscule.
Yeah. or you win 20 quid and then go and reinvest it next weekend and lose.
Yeah, when I'm talking about winning, I'm talking about winning over a long period of time.
Yeah. Enjoying the betting feature. I've seen Teofimo Lopez opens at just under evens against Commie. I can't see that price holding up. I know Steve's a big fan. What does he think?
I think they priced it right. I think the betting odds are right. I think you've got Teofimo Lopez 4-5, Richard Commie even money. You've got the Lopez, who I can't change what I said, it has been one of the most immense talents that I've seen for a long time.
And you saw him live out in Texas.
I think he's a phenomenal fighter, but I also thought Adrian Broner was a phenomenal fighter when he was building up the ranks, right? So this will be the first time that he's taken on a world-class fighter who's going to hit him and hit him hard.
And will stand there when he's
hitting. Now, I think the odds are about right, and I think that the argument is, do you know more than the bookies? Well, the bookies know everything that you know and that I know. Apart from the fact, the only advantage you get in that fight is if you knew one of the fighters was going in there with an injury and was going to be below par and was being forced to do a fight they shouldn't. But on both of them, you can't argue with those odds, because I don't think there's any choose between them. You've got Richard Commie, who's proven at that level, against a fighter who's got all the skill set but totally unproven. What happens when Richard Commie hits him? Now, the bookmakers have got Lopez favourite. I think that's right. But you couldn't have him 1-2 and Richard Commie 7-4. That would be too wide.
Yeah.
So I think it's about right. So my opinion again is, I think it's about right. If Lopez is going to live up to his expectations of what he's done, he will win the fight.
Yeah.
But it's by no means a guarantee, and I think there were really good arguments for saying that Richard Commie can win that fight.
Agree. I'm absolutely buzzing for that fight.
It's a great fight.
Oh, I'm going to be there. It'll be awesome.
It's a great fight.
Final one from Daniel Smith on Twitter. Bit of a long one, so he's written it out for us. If Dana White does as he said, I'm not sure if you've seen what he said, and will not acknowledge any of the current governing bodies when he launches Zuffa Boxing. So this is Dana White who's coming over from the UFC talking about getting involved. I'm guessing he would do what the UFC did. One belt in each weight class and then a ranking system, unless he's announced something that I've missed. And given the embarrassing actions of the WBC and the WBA over the last few years, some boxing fans might be drawn to the concept of a UFC system in boxing. Even if White does not do this, and I acknowledge it will take time and money to do, what are your thoughts on the concept?
I like it. I really like it.
It would be hard to argue against, wouldn't it?
Come on. I can't, I mean, I don't want to upset people. I don't want anybody to sue me. But let's be really honest. You can pick holes in what's going on, and I think it would be good for something that is, I don't know, that is just totally transparent and you can see what's going on.
I think the problem is to achieve what he's talking about, which is to disregard all of those belts and start from scratch, essentially. To do that, you would need the fighters to invest in what you're thinking of. Now, to get the fighters to invest, Eddie Hearn's seen firsthand that having $1 billion doesn't get you all the fighters that you want. He hasn't been able to sweep up that PBC stable. He's kind of left with a few of the, he's picked up the Golovkin, he's picked up the Usyks of this world. Well, Canelo's still golden.
No, yeah, but he just fights on them.
He's picked up a couple of good but not headline names, really, apart from Golovkin. But aside from that, he hasn't been able to go in and say, right, I'll have you. So how much money would Dana White need?
I mean, the question though was geared around, not will it succeed though, what do I think of the concept? I think the concept's great. Whether it actually can happen is a totally different discussion point, and I agree. I'm not sure that in reality it's going to be that easy to achieve, but I think the concept's really good.
The concept is no different in essence to the World Boxing Super Series. So when Josh Taylor beat Reggie Prograis, nobody cared about what belts he was going home with. They cared about the outcome of seeing the two probable bests in their divisions fighting and there being a winner. When Inoue beat Dene, you see Inoue gave back the WBC Diamond belt. He wasn't bothered about it. He just wanted that Ali trophy. Actually, he gave it to Dene because Dene promised his kids that he would be bringing it home. So he gave it to Dene for the night. So cool. But yeah, the winner of that wasn't the... I don't even know what titles were on the line for it. I know that they were the winner of the World Boxing Super Series.
Well, I totally agree. And I think we've got lost with these belts now, they become so irrelevant now. You know, franchise, WBC International, Intercontinental, Asia Pacific, European, WBO European,
Regular, super,
interims. It's just become, so to me, it's just a fee-making, money-grabbing system that we've now got that's gone out of control. I don't think unless somebody comes in and changes it, it will get any better. So hopefully he has some success in changing it. And then hopefully when he does it, it works well for the boxers, because at the moment it just seems to be all you've got to do is buy rankings, buy ranking fights, buy this, buy that to get ranked. It's all about parting with money, isn't it?
But people may not realise some of those, well, all of those peripheral titles, they were born of the fact that boxing was corrupt, and you used to just be able to pay whichever ranking body, the Steve Goodwin ranking body, X number of pounds, and it gets your fighter into the top 10. So now instead of doing that, you pay the Steve Goodwin ranking body X number of pounds to fight for the Steve Goodwin European trophy, or title, sorry, or the Intercontinental, or whatever it is. So it's just, how can I say it without getting sued? It's... I'm sure you get what I'm getting at. I can't say it's corruption. What I'm saying is that you're basically buying into a system of getting your fighters higher ranked by paying the sanctioning fees.
And that's how it is.
Yeah. However you pay those sanctioning fees, whether it's bank transfer, PayPal, brown envelope, whatever it is, it's the same system, just with a flashier title.
And that's how it is.
So yeah, Dana White, crack on, do it, and fans will get behind you, I'm sure.
Absolutely.
Cool, that's it for episode 80. We're nearly hitting 100.
I know.
Nearly hitting 100. Episode 80. So thank you very much for watching. And then we'll be back next week, and I've no idea what we're doing next week, if I'm honest. Previewing the 23rd.
And then we'll be getting a new one to watch, and there'll be a new guest in the studio, and lots more to talk about, I'm sure.
Excellent. Right, thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you then.
Cheers.